Welcome to video 3 of Objection Management. Today we're going to see how to deal with clients when they're actually not ready. And so when you're looking with a client that's not ready, it can really be three different things. And today we're going to teach you on how to deal with all three of them. So first one is actually an educational problem. Clients, do not know necessarily how long it takes to rent or to buy a property. And if you let them know that it might take very well 45 days in order to do a rental with the homeowner association process, or to purchase a property between the discovery phase, between making an offer, going through the entire process, having a few extensions, may very well take 60 days or more, they may very well be actually right on time, if not actually delayed. So it is very important when somebody self-declares that they're not ready to actually educate the client into how long does it really take to find a property. The second part is the client is impulsive. This happens very, very often. You will have a client who says, I'm only looking at starting next month, I will only be ready in 9 months, on and so forth. You faithfully maintain contact once in a while, and yet suddenly you get surprised that the client actually has closed. So it's actually quite simple to understand if the client is impulsive or not by very few simple questions that you can ask. So first thing is, why is the client currently on the website? Why is the client currently working with you or looking or working or looking at properties at this very moment? At that point, they may tell you, well, they're looking to get more information, they're trying to see how the market is, on and so forth. But the next question you must ask is actually quite simple, is if you were to find the perfect property today, would you pull the trigger? And if the answer is yes, you should treat him as a regular client. You should simply understand his purpose and start showing him properties, because otherwise I can guarantee you that client is going to be closing with somebody else in the very near future. Now, the third part of it is that they're really not ready. They're moving in the location in 9 months. Something's happening in their lives that they cannot make a purchase right now. And here, if you think it's a client that is worth staying with, if it's a purchase with a nice average ticket, somebody with a good network, or just simply because your pipeline is a little bit low, it is very important to do the following step. So what you can do is actually to get them started on a clear timeline. This timeline will have clear marks, will still clear contact points, and on top of that, we'll have a timeline that works towards a resolution of their project. So what you would do, the first and foremost, is that you will have to meet this client in person. I know that the first instinct is that I don't want to waste time, I'm just going to put people on an email campaign. This doesn't work. You cannot build a relationship with somebody, particularly over the course of several months, if you haven't met them. So the first thing you're going to have to do is actually meet them. And you're going to become an added value. You're going to really try to understand their purpose, what they're trying to achieve, and you're going to set them on the path to achieve that goal. There's many things that you can do. There are action items that will be interesting to the client, that will help you close the deal and also move the ball forward. You can introduce them to mortgage brokers. You can start educating them on the market. You can already set a timeline. So one of the timeline that works very, very well is to set a due date every single month until you're ready to move. It could be, for example, the 15th of the month. You're going to call them and send them 3 or 4 recommendations. It should take you no more than 10 minutes to prepare those recommendations, and then you follow up by calling them. You have to maintain this relationship. On top of that, if you have an affinity with a client, I strongly encourage you to actually meet them in person over the course of that time, with very easy deadline to meet. You will also set the expectation when will become time to actually select properties and to actually start organizing visits. When this is done, you will also explain what will happen during the visits. You will go and visit about 5 properties a day. During that time, you will actually make a decision on each one of them. Is it a pass? Is it a go? On the one that is a go, you make an offer and so forth, and repeat the process until you find the correct one. And doing this over the course of several months should not take you a lot of time, but will enable you to gather a great amount of future clients that will become your active pipeline in the near future. So that's absolutely key. You will, of course, have your active pipeline and your future pipeline, and nurturing your future pipeline should not really take much time, but will have great rewards. This is what all sales professionals do, and I strongly encourage you to do it yourself. Furthermore, there is something of a great added benefit by working with a client over a long period of time, is that suddenly, if they're down a path that is already set out for them, if they've already are already working with you, even in a relatively passive way, they will start behaving more and more as a friend and as a referral. At that point, not only is the stickiness of the client be infinitely higher than if it's a cold lead or an online lead, but on top of that, they're very likely to actually recommend their friends. Typically, when somebody moves to a new location or have a set timeline, is because they're going to be moving to a new job, or or a new location, or to a new place. They typically don't do it by themselves. They already know people in the region, so it's a great way to also reinforce your referral network. This is how to deal with clients that are not yet ready. I trust you liked the video. Don't hesitate to click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, and happy closings.